Holy crap, in today's badge cam lesson, the presence of a fire in a home is radically scary. MagTech is the only freedom seed I use on the range. I personally have over 100,000 rounds downrange of MagTech, and it's unbelievably reliable, very accurate, and a great value. Pick some up for your next range trip wherever you shop for range supplies. Hi everyone, welcome to today's badge cam lesson here at Active Self Protection, where every day we put a real life use of force caught on camera like this out there for everyone to learn some lessons to be more evidence-based in their training. I'm your host, John Correa.
I'm your co-host, Mike Williver. Today's video comes to us from Syracuse, New York.
Officers are on scene here, have been on scene for several hours. Initial call, according to the news stories I've linked in the description, was a woman who my guess would be is a frequent flyer who is with knives in the neighborhood threatening people. And apparently, again, according to the news stories in the description, has a history of schizophrenic breaks. And so the cops, I'm sure, know this woman. She has actually set a fire in the kitchen of the home that she's in, and she's threatening the officers. Let's listen in on the badge cam.
Yeah, the fire, you can tell, is really big in the kitchen. Allison, we have to come in because of the fire, okay? We're going to have to come in there. Turn the fire off so we don't have to. There's just only tasers up there.
Okay, she's right.
Yeah. Allison, please. What is she doing? Is that her?
Is she lighting that? Allison! Is that the stove?
I don't know what she's doing, but it's getting... Yeah, the smoke is getting real heavy in the house. If we're gonna have to move, we should move now. Because look, you can't...
We might have to go on this side.
It's...
So we get a straight approach. This fire's getting bigger, sir. Yeah,
we're gonna have to bear...
Where does this lead? Where does this lead? Right here. Take that fucking door right now.
Is there a PRV on scene?
What about the window open up?
She's spraying something.
Allison!
Allison!
We're making entry! Allison! Allison, your hands!
Kiss the shit.
We're not joking! Allison,
Let us see your hands!
Okay?
We don't want to hurt you!
She's behind the freezer.
Yep.
Behind the freezer.
It's a big fire. Yep. Allison, drop the knife!
Taser! Taser!
She's got a knife in her hand.
Drop the knife!
Drop the knife!
Drop the knife!
Drop the knife!
Drop the knife! I got good probe coverage.
Drop the knife!
Drop the knife!
Reload one if you got one. Claim it if you have to. Who's got
Drop the knife!
Drop the knife!
Taser knife! Watch cover, watch cover.
I got one too.
Heads up, she's standing up.
She's standing up. Get her again. I got one too.
Anything? Through the hole.
Nope. Try again. Get another one.
Watch
Lynn, get in there.
crossfire, watch crossfire.
No, get another one.
Come up.
Get another one. Nope. She's up. She's up. Nope. She's up.
Allison, drop the knife!
Drop the knife!
Get another taser.
Go through there.
The taser work at all? She's kind of just moving there. Keep zapping her.
The taser's hitting right now.
He'll go. Gotta go with the active. Gotta go.
We gotta go. Active. Go.
Gotta go. Gotta push.
Get in there. Drop it! Drop it! Drop the knife!
Sarah, like it back up. Only
Drop the knife!
get one. Where's that other taser? Hill?
I got
Get right behind you.
We got
What do you need? Get a good hit on her.
Drop the knife!
Right now. We got a taser. Fuck!
Gotta push, guys. Gotta push.
We gotta go in.
Breathe. Gotta push. Jesus. Who's in the back there?
Drop it!
She still has a knife in her hands. Allison, drop the knife! Get out, come on! Allison, we don't want to keep doing this. She's still looking at us with a knife. She's still...
You guys gotta extinguish her.
Allison, come on, please.
Fucking hose line right.
Drop the knife. Just extinguish it. She's in this corner. I got you leave the cover.
Hose her! Hit her in the fire!
That's it. Watch it. Move back. I can't see. She's moving.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
I got lethal cover. Hey, back up, bud.
Back up, she's got the knife in her hand. We got any more tasers? I'm out of taser. I'm out of taser.
Fire's out. No, there's still a small fire. Elton, no! Shots fired!
Oh, yeah. This is 4-4. Oh, yeah.
Ah!
We're good. Everyone's good. Everyone's good. Everybody good.
Good.
I can't breathe.
Good.
Guys, all right back there?
Good. All right. EMS.
EMS?
I kicked it over there.
Start CPR. Start CPR.
Unfortunately, the gunfire that she took proved to be fatal. She did not make it. No officers were harmed in this one or the firefighter. It's a terrible outcome, but unfortunately predictable. Dude, I just want to say, before we even get to the lessons, props to that firefighter.
Yeah, there's a lot of internecine kind of fighting jokingly around, like with the military, with fire and police, but we do love our hose draggers.
This is kind of the proverbial crap sandwich here, Mike, that cops sometimes just get forced to take a giant bite of because they've been trying to negotiate with this woman for hours. She's had knives. She retreated into the house. They let her retreat into the house. And so, you know, people say, well, why aren't social workers there? Why aren't crisis response team? Well, when she's threatening people with knives, that creates a physical danger that those folks aren't going to be able to get in there. And again, she's high emotion, non-compliant, contaminated thinking, and so you can't even make contact with her in order to start to negotiate with her. So these are kind of the unwinnable circumstances that sometimes show up in the world.
A couple of things I want to point out. One, this sort of situation, right? Not that she could have been talked down necessarily, but this sort of situation is why every single officer, deputy, agent, probation, parole, everyone should go through some crisis intervention training. Everyone should have at least a passing knowledge of how to talk to people, how to communicate with them, how to humanize yourself to them, step out from behind the badge, all that sort of thing. I'm not saying they didn't do that here, but this is a good example of why that's so important. Thing number two, I don't know if this agency has a SWAT team. Most do. I assume they do, or they have a regional SWAT team. This might have been a good idea at some point to just call those guys in, do a surround and call out. You know, SWAT stands for sit, wait, and talk. Surround and call out. If this is absolutely a situation where she has to go to a hospital or to jail, right? I don't know that it was before all this other stuff took over, but I assume she was going somewhere that night and they couldn't just walk away from this. Well, maybe call 911 for cops, get a SWAT team in there, have them surround the place, don't let her escape, pump it full of, CS or OC or whatever it is to get her to come out coughing, take her to the hospital. Hopefully she can get the help she needs. I don't know if that was an option or not, but if it was, I would like to have seen those guys show up for something like this.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, obviously here though, once she starts a fire, that creates a hazard not only for her, anybody else in the house and the neighbors' homes. So this becomes a crisis issue, right? So it's not, I can't sit and wait anymore when the house is burning down. I gotta get in there. And you see here, I mean, they tried the tasers multiple times. Of course, it's a Sex Panther of defensive tools. 60% of the time it works every time. And it just didn't work here, okay? And we got an officer with a shield. I love the shield. Of course, it's hard to see in this case, but man, one of the problems with the shield, please make sure that you're really good with the shield if you're gonna carry one, because pointing guns at fellow officers is a bad thing. But this is the chaos that ensues in these kinds of situations, Mike.
Yeah, I got to point something out. I picked up a shield. I never carried one in the field, but I was around them a lot. I picked them up and kind of mess around, kind of, get a feel for what it would feel like and how you would. They're not conducive to good visibility. That's kind of the downside of the shield. And if you don't practice with a shield, I'm not saying this officer hasn't practiced with a shield, but if you don't practice with it pretty extensively, it's not an intuitive thing to do. If you're used to two-handed shooting, you're used to not having a big piece of steel in front of your face with a tiny little slit for your eyes to see through, it's very cumbersome and awkward. I'm not sure a shield was entirely appropriate, only because we're talking about somebody with a knife and not someone with a gun. Now, certainly it couldn't hurt, right? If someone's running at you with a knife, couldn't hurt to have a shield, except that it makes things more cumbersome and awkward than they would otherwise be. And I'm not 100% sure he's pointing a gun at his partner, but it sure looks like he is.
I mean, it's certainly awfully, awfully close. And he's trying to keep her covered in case she comes at them with her knives. And Nothing else has worked. I think maybe an OC spray would have been useful here. And I know some people will be like, wait, but there's fire around and it's gonna light her on fire. No, modern OCs do not use alcohol as a carrier, okay? Modern OCs use water as a carrier. If you still have one with an alcohol-based carrier, you got a problem. This is not okay. And so I don't think it would have hurt here, but they don't have, it doesn't look like that. They've got kind of taser or nothing. And so you start running out of options here, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, if you wanted to be brave, I guess the guy with a shield could just run in there and just jump on top of her with a shield, try to subdue her that way. This is a real crap show. This is a poop sandwich, and everyone's having to take a bite of it. The fire did create an exigency in which they could go into the house and try to get her out of there, try to save her life. But these guys are insanely brave for going in there, because that fire, you don't know what's in the house. You don't know if there's a meth lab in there or combustibles or whatever. At any moment, there could be an explosion. But there they are, trying to save this woman's life over and over and over again. It's just a real crap sandwich. There's not much more I can say about the situation. It's just a terrible, awful situation that nobody wants to be in. But you're the police. You've got to deal with it. So they did their best, I think. This is just what ended up happening.
And now I want to just take a second and talk about this incredibly brave firefighter, okay? So they're like, dude, we got a fire in here. And of course, normally the fire wants to wait until the cops handle any threats that are going on to handle the fire, but they can't in this situation. And this particular firefighter just goes, yeah, whatever, I'm in, and goes right to the front of the line, right where the danger is, puts the fire out, and then even sprays down the perp here a little bit to make sure I think that she's not on fire. And Mike, this is the very first firefighter that we've had who has earned status as a Special Pants Brigade member. And I think that's not because there aren't more firefighters who are members of the brigade. We just haven't had any who've made it in a cop badge cam.
Yeah, police and firemen, we have a little internecine fun with our hose dragging brethren. We call them second responders because they can't go to a scene until we've secured it, blah, blah, blah. That's all in fun. I have a tremendous amount of respect for our professionals in fire rescue and EMS. They do a very dangerous job, and most of the ones I've worked with are highly skilled. In fact, fun fact, we had a paramedic from San Diego who was on the podcast who got shot trying to help someone at a trolley station, so check that out when you get a chance. I got to say, it is extremely bold of him to do this. I'm not sure the police told him or cleared him hot to go in there, but whatever, there he is. If he can put the fire out, more power to him.
Well, and listen, what's my big exigency here? That there's a fire. Okay, you've got her kind of set over in the corner. I'll take a little bit of risk, and if I have to, I mean, you turn the hose on her or conk her over the head with the canister or whatever. This just is an incredible act of bravery, in my opinion. And firefighters are incredibly brave to go into burning buildings as a way of life, okay? That's an incredibly dangerous profession, and God bless the men and women in fire rescue for what they do with that. And this even more so because we got an armed suspect right here who he then turns the hose on, which I think was really kind of funny. He's like, all right, I got her too. I'm out. And he just like rides off. My people need me. And off he goes into the wild blue yonder. Now, I will say here, okay, fine. The fire was the exigency. We've got it out. Can we, at this point, rather than all staying here, can we back away from this a little bit? And I think that's a little bit, maybe a lot to ask, because police officers are trained to go into the problem, to get after the problem, to take people into custody. But once the fire's out, can we all back off a little bit and now try to reset and see if we can get this woman into custody without having to shoot her? And of course, her actions are going to make or break this, Mike, but there is a time to know when to slow your roll and even to back up.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the times law enforcement tends to feel like I've got this ground, I'm not going to yield it. I've come this far, I'm not going to back out again. I'm already on or close to the problem. And I don't know that they had enough time necessarily to form a plan to get back out of there to try to do the surround and call out. But the fact remains, they had only a few moments. But yeah, if you're in a position where right now your proximity to the threat is causing there to be a more imminent threat than there otherwise would be, if you can get away from the threat. We talked about this with the gal with the pot of boiling water, right? Those cops, they just walked outside and kept their distance. There wouldn't be a problem. This is a little different, obviously. She's got a knife, which could do very, very serious, grievous bodily harm. I just don't think they had the time. But this is something to think about. If you find yourself in a situation like this as an officer, consider the possibility that we can back off a little bit, give this person some room, let them wear themselves out, whatever. But I just don't think they had that kind of time, considering how quickly she came out of that room with a really large knife in her hand.
Yeah, it only had a very few seconds. And so I don't blame them for this. Don't hear me saying, oh, they should have, and this is unjustified. This is justified conduct. She came out, with a knife in hand, charging towards officers and firefighters. They had to do what they had to do here, okay? So they had to stop the deadly threat. And this is a terrible outcome, right? We would much have preferred this woman get some medical help, get some psychiatric help, and maybe have a chance to make it as a productive member of society. But again, the actions of the perp dictate definitively what happens here, and I don't blame these officers a bit. This is just one of those where there's just no good solutions. There's just a giant crap sandwich. And sometimes that's what you're going to get thrown into. All we ask that you do, officers, is make good decisions in the moment based on objective, reasonable evidence with your high level of training. I think these officers did that to the best of their ability. I think it was a very difficult spot to be in. Kudos to this firefighter for being brave as heck. Terrible outcome, but I think some valuable lessons for us in case, God forbid, this happens again.